All right, we're live. Eastern Outdoors Media, Tuesday Night Live. Welcome, everyone. We appreciate you being here. I'm going to wait till this notification pops up on my phone here.
I just got a
We
ping too.
have, I'm sorry, go ahead. There it goes.
I was
We
just gonna say
do
I got
have
a
a
ping for you
special
too.
guest. I'm going to call him the Predator of Predators, right? Jon Collins. The Predator of Predators, Jon Collins. John, I got a question. So you're full time with Fox Pro, right?
Yes, sir.
You're doing like Fox Pro TV. So did that replace Tooth and Claw?
Well, yeah, I was part owners of Tooth and Claw TV, and of course I
Right.
was the host of it. Did that for several years. I think we were actually fixing to go into our sixth season. I've worked very closely with Fox Pro through the years,
Right.
and just one thing led to another, and they offered me a position, and I jumped on it. It was the right move for me and the family, and a company that I love and have
Yeah.
always backed. So I feel like I'm where I belong, and here we are,
That's
Fox Pro
great.
Game Calls, Fox Pro Hunting TV.
Well, I was just looking earlier when I was kind of putting the graphic together, and I thought, I've not seen Tooth and Claw lately. Maybe it's just Fox
No,
Pro. I
it's
wanted to ask you. I should have asked you before, I guess.
like all the tooth and claw footage from over the years. It's still out there. Everybody can still
Yeah.
go watch it if they want to. We're not taking it down or anything like that. But there will
Right.
be no more content added to Tooth and Claw TV. Everything you'll see from me is going to Fox Pro.
Great, great, great. Well, we appreciate you being here, guys. Thanks for joining us, Brent. We got some people. So if you're watching from our Facebook group, and we have to kind of give this notice. Uh-oh, there's a child coming in. We have
Nice.
to give this notice. Hold on. Every week, just leave it right there. We're good. All right. She just lost a tooth. So the Tooth Fairy, I think, is going to bring her like a Nintendo Switch, like a little cheap game. So she had to remind me. So there you go. Come on. Oh, she'll just give me a kiss. All right, cell phone camera. Go, 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 go. Anyway, if you're watching from the group like this, we want to hear from you, but it says Facebook user. Okay. So just to let you know, if we say Facebook user, it might be you. She didn't shut the door. Nora, shut the door, please. Sorry. Y'all seen that clip where the guy, like on the BBC English network, his kids come in and then the wife comes in and grabs them and they fall down? That's how it's anyway. So guys, we're here. We're talking about turkey hunting, turkey population, just a good conversation. Jon Collins is here. He just said he makes a living hunting. He's also a farmer, so he's got kind of a unique perspective on both sides of this. If you're watching, we have some weekly viewers here. Go ahead and share this to your Facebook page. Share this in a group, whatever outlet you have, and we appreciate you being here. I see Brent, Jimmy, some Facebook users, several of those. Robert James, thanks for being here. So, all right, let's kind of give an update of where we are in Kentucky, because most of the people watching are in Kentucky, and if they're not in Kentucky, they're nearby. So, in nearby states, it's similar how things are going. So, just looking at numbers, and I know when you talk about numbers, you're talking about, how many hours people have hunted. You just can't look at the numbers and make a blanket statement. So, we're not doing that. But as of today, we're just under 24,000 turkeys harvested. Now, Mike, this is something we've talked about. And, John, I've seen you talk about this in comments, so I want to get your thoughts on this. We're at 4,300 jakes.
Mm-hmm.
Last year with 30,000 turkeys, we were at 3,000, so we're 10%. This year we're at 18. I mean, that's almost double.
Yeah.
And that's a hot topic right now. And, I mean, I'll be honest. I've not killed a turkey, and if a jake walks out this weekend, I'm going to shoot it. Like I just am.
And there's nothing.
I don't care if anyone cares.
So it's a legal bird to take.
Right. But I also know that, Mike and I listen to Fistful of Dirt podcast with two turkey legends, Cuz Strickland and Harold Knight, who we have the most respect for.
Mm-hmm. And they said, hey, you should.
Yeah. And they said, look, you get one jake, and then after that, you're shooting gobblers. So, there's various opinions out there. But anyway, right now we're 18% jakes. Public land, we've killed 1,300 birds. Last year we killed 1,700. And we're things what Mike has been calling a silent season, where people are not hearing a lot of gobbling. That probably affects public land. So all that going on. let's start with, it looks like we're going to come in pretty far under that 30,000 number for harvest. John, does that alarm you? Do you think that's concerning, or what factors do you see going on there with a drop in harvest totals?
Can you guys still hear me all right?
Oh
Thanks for
yeah, you're
cutting.
good. You're good.
It's alarming, I think. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
And the harvest numbers have definitely dropped. There can be many factors come into play, but yeah, that's definitely something that I think we need to be worried about to an extent.
Yeah.
How worried we need to be, I don't really know. And there's a full week of season left. We still got another weekend left. Of course,
Yep.
we're not going to gain 10,000 birds this week.
Right.
We just ain't going to do it.
Right.
A good chance we might gain a couple thousand.
Yeah.
Which will get the number up a respectable number. But we can't expect to break the record every single year. I know everybody likes to see it average out the same. That means your population is sustained. So I think it definitely shows that there could possibly be less birds out there in the state of Kentucky. One thing we have to remember, you see guys arguing all the time on these Facebook pages. Like, you'll see one guy say, man, it's the worst season ever. I ain't seen the first bird, heard the first gobble. And the next guy, maybe right there in that thread, like, man, this is the best season I've ever had. I'm hearing so many birds off the roost, seeing this many birds. So it's not every spot, every county, every community in counties are not. Some people are definitely seeing a loss of birds, and some people are seeing the same trend they've seen for the last years.
Yeah. That's one thing that I've seen a lot, and I posted about that a couple of days ago, is it's really hard to describe the turkey season, because if you ask Mike right there, phenomenal season.
Yeah.
I mean, he's tagged out several seasons in a row, but he's not had to labor for it this year. Like he didn't have to put in extra work. A lot of friends I talked to, including myself, it's been very tough. And, so it's just, I've heard the phrase, we've got turkeys in pockets of turkeys here and there. Some places are great, some places aren't. And when you hear that, though, you really can't put a finger on it. Well, it's great here because of this, and it's not great here because of this. And so I think that's what's difficult to figure out. What were you going to say, Josh?
I was just going to say, sorry to cut you off, kind of off the topic of what we're talking about, but we have a Facebook user here that says prayers for Colton Shoemaker, killed in a turkey hunting accident this past weekend.
Oh no.
So yeah, I just want to say we'll be praying for that family, and
so sorry to hear that.
Guys, be careful out there. I know public land can be dangerous sometimes. So safety is number one always. So be careful out there.
I walked up on a guy, and I hate anytime you hear of a hunting accident, right? It's terrible. I walked up on a guy Saturday or Sunday, and I saw his decoys. There was a guy standing there, and I saw like 3 decoys, and he was just sitting there in the blind. I said, dude, you are brave to sit here. I mean, it was just right over a hill. Like, I said, you were brave to sit here on public land in this field with decoys out. But John, what do you think about when you hear pockets of turkeys? I mean, there's really no way to say what's causing turkeys to be here and what's not causing turkeys to be there.
Well, I see it a lot here in my home county of Lincoln County. We want to talk about farm country turkeys. One of the things that's baffled me over the last few years is finding the pockets on public ground. These public land areas that are vast acres of solid timber, say like Daniel Boone National Forest.
Right.
And you might go there, and I've hunted Daniel Boone National Forest. I've been on turkeys in there. There's turkeys in Daniel Boone National Forest.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Tons of them. I've been on birds 2 years in a row in certain areas, and then go back to it the following year, the third year, and there's not a bird to be found. There's not a crack. There's not a single dropping. There's not a gobble as far as you can hear. What causes that? I have no idea. That's the stuff especially when you start talking about what our population is doing, whether it's decreasing, increasing, stabilized, or whatever. It's those areas where nothing changes. There's nothing that can change in the middle of the Daniel Boone National Forest in this big old pocket of huge timber. What's caused those birds to decline there?
Right.
So that's something I really can't speak on, but there is stuff that comes into play when you're talking about these farm country turkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of it's got to do with the farmers.
Yeah. And you are a farmer, so you can speak on this.
Yes, I come from a farming family. My dad is one of the largest cattle farmers here in Lincoln County. Runs a cow-calf operation. He cuts a lot of hay. We put a lot of hay in. We raise a little bit of corn, some crops, and stuff like that. And guess what? All that stuff affects your turkeys.
Yeah.
People want to talk about raccoons. They want to talk about foxes, coyotes, bobcats, possums, all these other nest raiders and stuff like that. Well, I tell you what, a group of raccoons don't hold a candle to a 956 Moco John Deere disc mine. You want to know what is one of the biggest destroyers of hens and their nest come May is all these farmers cutting hay. My dad, he's already cut 50 acres of wheat. I forgot what he tell me about it. They like killed 4 hens and busted 6 nests that he saw. That he saw.
That he saw.
I don't even count what he hasn't seen.
Yeah.
Seen a buddy on Facebook this morning. He was on a great big old 80-acre wheat field just mowing away.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how many he busted? My dad's got his mowing machines hooked up right now. As soon as this weather passes, he's going to be cutting 60 acres of alfalfa and another 30 acres of clover.
Yeah.
He'll kill another 15 hens and no telling how many nests he'll bust.
Yeah.
I guarantee you the coons that are on his property will not have that big of effect as he will on our hatch.
Now, let me ask you something, because I know people say, farming practices hurt turkey numbers, like you just said. But here's kind of my thing. If your dad or whoever is farming, they're already cutting hay and whatnot. If they wait to do that for the sake of a turkey, is that hurting their bottom line?
Yeah.
So we can't ask them to do that.
That's the reason it's not fair for us to.
You can't ask them to do that.
I say stuff to my dad all the time. What in the world are you doing? Them hens are out there on a nest, and you're like, "Yeah, I busted, busted 10 nests, and he don't like it. He's concerned about it,
right?
But he's also concerned about feeding all his cattle for the year.
Exactly.
So
you just can't ask farmers to change if it's going to hurt their bottom line. I mean, that's their livelihood.
Exactly.
And so what can we do other than that?
I think that is one thing that that a lot of people don't take into consideration, when they're talking about these turkey populations. And it's tough. My dad will never do that. He's always going to cut hay in May. I can't get him to cut hay in June.
Yeah.
And
there's more
you're still going to bust nest.
Yeah, there's more farmers that are like that than are going. The farmers that are going to wait are probably making money in other ways, and they can afford to wait, and they also just really love turkey hunting.
Exactly. And there's other things that come into play. It's just like on my dad's home property. There's like 260 acres there, and it's always been really good for at least anywhere from 2 to 5 longbeards are always on it. Okay. You can usually look at, we film hunts off of it. We usually kill about 2 birds off of it. Didn't even hunt it this spring. And I think one big factor is there's a creek that separates 2 fields. And on one side of that creek was an old growed up fence row. I mean, this fence row has been there for 80 years or something. Growed up, had great big old trees in it and spots too that birds would actually roost in. There's no telling how many times I've walked it growed up fence row and busted out hens off a nest. In the winter, it's always a hold a covey of quail, all that type of stuff. Well, guess what my dad did a year ago? Took a bulldozer in there and cleared out that fence row.
No.
And guess what? Instead of having anywhere, a bunch of gobblers to hunt on that place, I'm not saying this is what changed it.
Yeah.
One tom on it this year.
Wow.
One tom. Now, I'm not saying that the area has declined in population, because the next farm over is absolutely loaded this year.
Yeah. Well,
was that enough to push all of my birds to the neighboring property? Possible. It's the only thing really changed.
Yeah, John, with the habitat change, like especially with what you're talking about, I wrote a story about that with a lot of the questions that I asked Zach Danks, our biologist.
Yep.
And we talked a lot about when I talked to, when I wrote about the habitat, we talked a lot about farming. And one of the best things that we can do is literally besides big farming, we'll say big farming, like in the situation you just described, that's your dad's livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it hurts, their livelihood. But if you've got a situation where you can, you're trying to figure out on a small farm, what can you do to improve your habitat? What's the cheapest thing you can do? Simply don't mow. Just simply don't mow. So if you've got 60 acres, it's not a running farm. You're not making money off of it, but you're wanting to improve your turkey habitat. The cheapest thing you can do is just leave it be. Don't mow, don't bush hog during that time. So I talked a lot about that and that type of story. And obviously in a situation where it's a bigger farm and it's actually a working farm, it's more difficult. But it definitely sounds like, just from what I learned through talking to Zach Danks, that it does sound like, changing your fence rows, taking the brush away from the fence rows, that's definitely changing habitat on a property. And it very well could have contributed to that, it sounds like.
And that's the thing, and y'all probably seen me comment about it before, but what a lot of guys don't realize is it's not just turkeys that are decreasing. It's all kinds of different bird species.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a turkey problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bird problem in general. And I mean, it's a big number of species that are in decline for whatever reason. And there's a lot of studies going on about it. And you see guys jump on and say, well, Fish and Wildlife needs to do this. Fish and Wildlife needs to do that. Guys, listen. Zach Danks, that Mike just mentioned, he's a turkey biologist for Kentucky. He's extremely knowledgeable man. I mean, that's what he knows. That's his life, is the wild turkey. Trust me, he does not want to see our population declining. And they're doing stuff, there might be things that you guys don't see. I know that there should be some transparency sometimes. And, they've got a lot of information they got to push out. So, I'm not blaming them that not everybody knows every single thing they're trying to do. But these guys are working hard for a turkey population here in Kentucky. And, if you have the chance to talk to Zach, he's very open. You can ask him questions and he'll answer them truthfully. Another thing you can do, every county has a private lands biologist. These guys are very knowledgeable. Just like Mike was talking about, the stuff he was doing there. You can actually contact your private lands biologist and they'll come to your place for free. And you can tell them, say, hey, I want to improve things for my wild turkey flock. I want a bigger population of wild turkeys. They'll help you get a program together, things you can do on your property that can possibly help you increase the number of birds that you have.
Yeah, John, I love that, and thank you for kind of saying that. Something that I've been trying to talk to people just in general is I think we do have a habit of kind of saying the department needs to do this or they need to do that. I think it's extremely important that we all understand on our 60 acres, on our 40 acres, our 50, and et cetera. Kentucky's made up of about 97% public or private property.
Right.
That means it's going to be on the landowners and it's going to be on the farmers. It's going to be on me. It's going to be on the other hunters that hunt on private property to take care of business the way we need to take care of. So, it's not the department. It's not, the hunters or, just landowners. It's a collective effort. So I thank you for sharing that information, because I think that's forgotten. We can contact our county biologists and have them come out and assess our properties and help us with some things that we can do to improve, habitat, just like you said, habitat for birds in general, not just turkeys.
Yeah. And what I would encourage, if you own land, I mean, small acreage or large, I would encourage people to do that, because, the folks I've talked to, I don't think they're utilized enough. Guys, these private land biologists, I don't think people utilize them enough. And then I see people complaining like, well, on my land this and on my land that, and they have every right to complain. It's their land. Right. But use the tools and resources you have. And here's what I think Zach thinks. The times I've talked to him 2 or 3 times, we did a podcast with him last year. I think he's a great guy. I think he's very knowledgeable, like you said. The only thing that I would say with our department that I've seen kind of across other states is, it's been acknowledged there is a decline across the Southeast. I think we just need to be open about it and have conversations about it and not try to say, well, we still have this and that. There's just a decline and we're doing what we can to address it. And, people have to be okay with that. There's a decline. Let's say we come in 5,000 turkeys short this year of 30,000. We get 25. Acknowledge it. Here's what we're doing about it. And that's it, kind of put a period on the end of it.
And speaking on that right there, you still got to ask you a question. Is there what actually caused the smaller harvest?
Yeah.
Is there possibly less hunters out there? I haven't seen the license sales numbers, and it's not really license sales numbers, it's turkey permit sales numbers.
Yeah.
Just because you got a hunting license don't mean you're a turkey hunter. We might not have as many turkey hunters out there this spring.
No. Well, and definitely, a lot of hunters, and I want to make 2 points here. A lot of hunters, if you don't kill that first week, that's what you've planned to hunt. If you work a lot of hours, you plan to hunt that first week and you don't tag out, a lot of guys don't get to go back. And I won't say a lot, but there's, quite a few I know that said after the first week they were done, whether it's by frustration or time constraints, their kids have ball games, whatnot. And 2, what I see a lot of people say is, and I think guys from Missouri have been kind of combating this, but people say, Kentucky needs to go to a 1 bird limit per spring. Yeah, I've seen guys in Missouri say, you know what, we did that and it didn't help because most people only kill 1 turkey. And so, it's like every answer you have, it's like, it's kind of, that didn't really work.
I'll tell you something funny about that too. I've seen that a lot on Facebook groups this year. Oh, I think we should go to 1 bird limit. Yeah. Well, guess what? Season comes in 5 days through season. That guy that said that's tagged 2 birds.
We've said the same thing.
If you want to say that, you kill 1 bird this year.
I agree 100%. If you feel like we need a 1 turkey limit, then don't kill 2. 100%.
Guys that went ahead and killed 2, I ain't saying nothing bad, but I killed 2. I'm going to kill 2.
Jake Cowan, I was looking at his question earlier. I seen you had Mark Allen's pulled up as well about public land, kind of off of the farms and private land and stuff like that. He asked, what data is showing that the turkey population has decreased more on public land? I listened to a study earlier that only 52% of WMA's total land mass is actually hunted. And I kind of think that's a good point too. I mean, I've not even been in the turkey woods this year, so I can't really speak about this year specifically. Like deer season, for instance, like I went to one spot and seen like 4 other hunters on public land.
Right.
Like, I found the spot on what's the app called?
Onyx.
Went and checked it out. Sat there for like an hour, seen 4 other hunters. I got up and I left.
Right.
So if only 50, and I don't know anything about this study he's talking about, but like if only 52% of land is being hunted, like we're missing a lot there. I know, like you.
And I don't know where that is.
Obviously you can't cover an entire WMA in even in a week, But I mean, what? And maybe I'm that guy on the other side that likes to get people going. But like, how deep are you going? Like where are you hunting at? Are you going to the same spot every year? Are you killing the same the same population of birds in the same area? What's your all's take on that? Like public land, and how that could affect it or help people out with where they hunt at?
I think I don't know the answer to that, but I think that's a great comment. One thing is he's asking, where's the study at that says there's a decrease on public land?
Yeah, that was in North Georgia.
I haven't seen nothing about that. I hear guys just saying that it's dropped, but I've not seen an actual study saying it has. I'm not saying that it hasn't or it has because I don't really know. I believe that 52% part. It's just like we mentioned Andrew National Forest earlier. It's 640,000 acres in the state of Kentucky. I guarantee it ain't all getting covered.
Yeah, and I think John Allen, who helps us with this, and he and I both went to public land this past weekend. I think I walked 5 miles, 6 miles, and he said he walked 13 or 14, and neither of us heard a gobble. I did hear a gobble, but it was across the road on private land, of course. But that same day, I saw people that had killed turkeys on public land. Yeah. It's just anytime you're on public land, and that's mostly what I hunt, whether it's turkey, deer, heck, even squirrel sometimes, it's a crapshoot. And so I think this is a good segue into kind of what Mike has been preaching on. And John, I want to get your thoughts on this. I have heard, personally, and I think a lot of people you talk to, after 9 o'clock, man, I've heard less gobbling this year than last year, when Mike and I hunted together, we literally were chasing turkeys till 7 p.m., hearing them gobble.
Yeah.
This year it's just not been that way. And Mike's been calling it the silent season because a lot of folks are saying that. And Mike has been telling everyone, you need to find a strut zone, sit down, call every 30 minutes, wait, be patient. A lot of people don't like to do that. And it's really hard to do that on public. It is really hard to do that on public. So What are your thoughts on that, John, as far as what may be a silent season, if you will?
I have two opinions on it because I have seen just a little bit. Okay. Not as extreme what I've seen you guys talk about and you just mentioned. I think the two things that are probably caused that I have noticed this year, and I don't know why, but it seems like the hens in this area have actually started nesting later than usual.
We've wondered that too. Yeah.
I mean, I'm usually seeing nest in March. I didn't see the first nest in March. Okay. So I think part of it is gobblers are keeping hens, unbred hens, longer into the season than we normally have. And that will cause that. Okay. Because you don't have those hens leaving them at 9 o'clock and them firing back up for good mid-morning, late morning, early afternoon, fired up gobbler setups. I think that's part of it. The other part of it is a lot of areas. Well, I hope a lot of areas I'm in had an extremely good hatch this past year. Mm-hmm. And there's a tremendous amount of jakes. I've got one property that's got 3 different groups of jakes. It's got a group of jakes that has 12 in it, and all 12 will strut. Pretty impressive sight.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. But it's talking about tough hunting.
Oh, yeah.
There's a group of 7 jakes and a group of 4 jakes all on the same property. Guess what? There's a bunch of longbeards on it, but there's hardly any gobbling. Because as soon as a longbeard sounds off, that big group of 12, straight line right to them go whoop.
Yep.
And I think that's a lot of the reason you're hearing a lot less gobbling in areas. I would think if for the guys that has a lot of jakes this year, I about guarantee you it's reason they will affect the gobbling in your area. Your jakes will, if you've got a tremendous amount, because that's all they're looking to do is go whoop up on something. And I think it goes back, we was talking about earlier about, we didn't get to talk about it much, and I don't want to get off topic here, but
no, you're good.
Jake versus Tom. Is that my thing ding in there?
Maybe, I don't know. It was loud.
Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, Jake versus Tom harvest.
Yeah, that was going to be what I brought up next, so go for it.
One of the reasons where we're seeing a larger harvest number of jakes is because we've got more jakes this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just here. I mean, we're flooded. We were lousy with jakes, filthy with jakes. I think that's one of the reasons you're seeing an increased number on that harvest. And the other thing is you see people complaining about it. Oh, you got to let those go. It's so much better for the future.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know for sure. I don't buy into that totally, because guess what? If there's 10 birds killed on a property and say 5 of them, just making round numbers here, 5 of them's jakes, 5 of them toms, guess what? You've still killed 10 male birds. That means there's going to be 10 less longbeards next year. No matter if you killed 10 longbeards this year, 10 jakes, 5 jakes, and 5 toms, it don't matter. There's 10 less longbeards that would be there the following year, no matter how you look at it. And I don't think it really affects the numbers either, because I guarantee you that your toms are doing almost all the breeding, if not
Mhm.
all of it. I mean, these jakes I'm watching, they ain't interested in no hens. They'll run right by a flock of hens, go whoop a gobbler. They don't care about them.
Well, it's kind of like the argument killing a doe early season versus late season.
It's still
People say you kill them late season and you kill them the same thing.
Yeah.
I saw something here I was going to bring up. But, well, while I'm looking for that, Mike, you have been saying if you're not against killing jakes, and I gave Mike a hard time 2 weeks ago saying that he was really mad about all the jakes being killed. I was just joking. He gets uncomfortable, John. He gets real uncomfortable when I put him on the spot like that. So I got to do it sometimes.
No, I was definitely going to ask John. So and I completely agree, because we've also heard some people say, like, if you harvest jakes, like, that means you're not harvesting the gobbler that's breeding right now.
Right.
But then you can also look at it like you're taking out next year's gobbler, which will eventually breed. But just like to your point,
It's still a
male. It's legal and it's a male. So I would never, be hard on somebody for taking a jake.
Jake shame. You would never jake shame.
I would never jake shame at all.
If we're going to be, try to be strict with that, making sure we killing these mature gobblers, which is, and you can ask Zach Danks this, the biologist. There is no way to really actually know whether you've actually killed a 2-year-old or a 5-year-old.
Right.
Because you kill an 1.5-inch spurred turkey, don't mean that bird's a 4 or 5-year-old bird. It is possible. And y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but that is possible. That could be a 2 or 3-year-old bird.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot to do with genetics. It has a lot to do with their terrain.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot to do with their feed, all
Nutrition.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No, the only way you're actually killing this ancient gobbler is when he comes up there. If you holler, "Hey, how old are you?"
Right.
So you don't know that you're killing 5-year-old birds.
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
And who's to say? Hear people say, "Well, your 2-year-old birds are your most vocal birds." Well, I think maybe. Who's to say that a 3 and 4-year-old bird is not extremely vocal?
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask you that. That's kind of the next thing that I try to keep in mind when I'm hunting my own property, especially if I've called it the silent spring. Is just from all the conversations that you see on Facebook. Like, everybody's dubbing this. I'm not hearing I've not heard a single gobble on my place, and I have had gobblers there in the past. I've seen that everywhere, so I've kind of dubbed this the silent spring, if you will. I've heard it mentioned. Cuz Strickland mentioned it on his Fistful of Dirt podcast as kind of being a factor in Mississippi as well.
Did he use the term silent spring?
He did. Yes, he termed it.
I thought you created that, Mike.
He did term it the silent spring. But so the way I was kind of thinking of it, and you just mentioned it is hard to tell, but just from what you read and what you study, as far as being just a turkey fanatic, they do, biologists suggest that 2-year-old birds are the loudest, most gobbling birds out there. So if this season were to be the silent spring, and one would wish to hear more gobbling in 2023, we know that we have more jakes. And I think that's been across the board in our state, of course. Yeah. A lot of people have said this, and you said that many in yours. I know a person that's seen 13 of jakes on their property. But if we wish to hear more gobbling next year, and obviously that's the allure of turkey hunting, you want to hear gobbles, you want to run and gun after that gobbler. Do we want to harvest jakes if we want to hear more gobbling next year? I was going to just ask you about that and get your thoughts.
And that's been your point, Mike, is you might hear, if you harvest more jakes, you might hear less gobbling.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that can come into play, Mike. I can't say on it positively. We was talking about earlier about some of the legends in the sport talking about you get one jake, then you need to just kill Tom from here. I don't care if all three of you guys and everybody that's on here kills jakes.
Yep.
I'll congratulate you. I'll like your Facebook post. Say congratulations, man. Sounds like an awesome hunt if it was.
Same here.
I'm pumped for you. Me myself, I've killed jakes in the past. I have. It's been a long, long time since I have. And I don't know that I can just go ahead and tell you, I probably never kill another one. Just because it doesn't, I want a Tom. I want a big full fan gobbler. I don't care if he's a 2-year-old. I don't care if he's a 3-year-old. I don't care if he's a 4-year-old. I don't care if he's 16 or 17 years old. But I want that full fan comes out and he's a long beard. If I got a tag going down. Now, if Jays come up, they get a pass. But that's just my personal preference. But if you want to kill a Jay, you kill it. I mean, it's a legal bird.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'll tell you, John. I don't think me and Mike could be friends if he shamed anyone, because we entered the bow hunting league, like the deer hunting competition. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The bow hunting league? We entered that. They were all talking about killing a big deer to win this competition. I was like, dudes, y'all gonna be real disappointed when I kill that spike this year.
Hey, there's two things real quick. So the comment on the screen mentions the cicada hatch. So last year there was a cicada hatch, mostly in Indiana, but Northern Kentucky y'all had a lot of cicadas.
Yep.
The last time we had a huge hatch in Kentucky, 2 years later, we had our biggest harvest ever, record breaking. So next year, Northern Kentucky, that should affect. And who said it? Josh Teeter. Josh, I think 2024 is like the statewide hatch. And that's just, from what I think I talked to Zach Danks about this, it just provides a lot of protein, a lot of food for turkeys,
especially
a healthy hatch, right? For poults, a healthy hatch. And so 2026 could be like the next record breaking year. The other comment, I just wanted to address that because that's something we've talked about before. The other comment was,
I saw one that said, "Can a Jake gobble?" They can gobble. It's usually very short. It's kind of like it's very immature sounding.
It's like they've not hit puberty.
I watched
They're going through puberty.
I mentioned those 3 big groups of Jakes. Had one group of 7. I saw them this morning in a pasture field early, and they were hammering all 7 of them together.
It's a high pitched, not mature sound. Let's see here. Jimmy Carroll says
all 7 of them gobbling together. They sound like a stud.
Hey, listen, that'll be fun next year.
Yep, it will be.
All right, so Jimmy, and I don't know if you guys saw, there was a story, I think actually Michael Penley, who's from Kentucky, wrote it for Realtree, that maybe putting out corn for deer season affects the turkeys. And Jimmy's asking, do you guys think it has any effect? I don't have any enough knowledge to actually comment on that. What do you guys think?
What kind of, I don't know that it has a negative effect or a positive effect. We've got property right down the road here that was 80 acres of corn on it. And when it was harvested, there was, the combine and whatever else was, losing corn.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of old moldy, ugly looking corn, not moldy, it's just,
right.
Corn's been laying there since November. It's nasty looking. That's a farming practice deal out there. We don't turkey on it because ain't no turkeys on it. But I've been on other places it's similar and be eat up with birds. Now this place out here ain't got hardly a bird on it. Yeah. But I don't know if it actually affects them or not. I can't say to it.
I can see. I mean, I don't have a ton of experience with private land, but I could see if you have some private land and you're putting out, what is it? Is it 30 days prior to turkey season? You got to stop putting corn out.
You got yeah.
So
there's actually a hard date there. I can't remember. You have to check, fw.ky.gov.
Yeah.
I could see if you're putting, piles of corn out, you have turkeys coming in during deer season or whatever, and then that date hits, then you got to stop putting corn out, and all of a sudden your birds stop showing up. I mean that could be. I could see that being a thing, but I couldn't say for sure if that's a big factor into whether you're hearing a lot of birds or not.
Yeah, I can actually speak a little bit of maybe possibly truth into this just from listening to John. We've already referenced the podcast a couple of times. A Fistful of Dirt with Cuz Strickland. He actually switched gears just recently. His most recent podcast episode, he switched gears and talked to I still call it QDMA. I'm still getting used to the new name. So they talked to Kip Adams. He talked to Kip Adams, the deer biologist with them. And they actually brought that same subject up about turkeys and deer feed. And he actually said that he does not put deer feed on his own properties due to some truth to that harming turkeys. And it's usually something that gets put in the deer feed that actually deer are big enough animals that can handle it. And it doesn't affect them, but turkeys, it can actually kill turkeys if they have enough of it.
So the story
to be out there.
Good. The story that Michael wrote says there's 3 reasons. One, aflatoxin, some kind of toxin that's in the corn, is bad for turkey poults. That was a study done by Mississippi State University. 2, the turkey poults eat it, and it's poor nutrition. So this is not talking about like corn that's grown from the ground. This is just bags of corn you put in your deer feeder.
Exactly. It's the
poor
deer
nutrition
feeder.
for the poults. And then 3 is it brings in more predators.
Yeah.
So that was kind of their premise there.
For like raccoons and the such.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So now John, you mentioned, you said, the big John Deere tractor is killing more, birds than the raccoons and predators. But now you are a predator hunter,
Mhm.
not raccoons, of course.
Right.
Coyotes and bobcats and whatnot. But do you think maybe not the impact that a lot of people think it has, but what kind of impact? I mean, obviously they're raiding some nests.
They
significant,
they impact them. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
they do. A coyote's job on Earth is to kill stuff, eat it, and then make babies.
Mhm.
That's the cycle of life.
There you go.
And it's usually what they kill is the most readily available food. If they stumble across a hen laying on a nest, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna eat it. They're gonna kill it and eat it.
Yeah.
Same thing for the eggs. I have seen people rant and rave about how much they kill and stuff, on these pages. Some people could take it to the extreme. They probably don't kill as many as they're thinking. But yes, they definitely kill. I mean, that's what they do. That's their job, is to kill stuff and eat it out there in the wild. And a turkey laying on a nest is an easy target for them. It really is.
Yeah.
I think if you have a lot of foxes in your area, which I don't have, I think foxes can be very, very hard on turkeys and eggs and stuff like that. I mean, you always hear about a fox getting into somebody's hen house.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They like that type of animal. So I guarantee you, a fox ain't gonna give them no slack at all. I've seen the trail camera pictures where people's put trail cameras on nest, and foxes come in, eat the hen, eat every egg there, or a raccoon come through and eat every single egg, then leave. I mean, that stuff happens. It really does. I think if you're wanting to manage your turkey flock, you have to, and I'm saying turkey and deer both. If you're going to be a land manager trying to manage your deer and turkey, you got to have some predator management, predator control in place as well.
Yeah.
And with that predator hunting, John, that's something, just from what I read more and more about. You kind of, once you start that, if you want to see continuous, it's not, you do it for a year and quit. It's a commitment every year, because you're going to see, you'll see you'll kill so many, and then you'll see your other animals, your turkeys, flourish a little bit. And if you quit, it will just revert right back to where it was before you started predator hunting. So it's a commitment, and it's every season.
Right. That's exactly right. You'll hear people talk about too, they wish they'd put trapping in year round and all that kind of stuff. And, that's, maybe something to look at for the future. I don't think we have a predator problem is that bad. My job is to travel all over the country, not just the state of Kentucky. I go everywhere in coyote hunt, multiple states. There is one, I would call it a myth, I guess, or a misconception. Everybody thinks that Kentucky has this tremendous amount of coyotes. We don't have no coyotes compared to other states. I can go to Kansas and kill more coyotes in 3 days than I can here in 3 months.
Wow.
I mean, we don't have coyotes like some other states do.
Yeah.
But we do have them, that's for sure. But we don't have the population compared to other states like a lot of people think we do. We just don't. I mean, if we did, I wouldn't have to go to Kansas. I wouldn't have to go to Wyoming. Going to Wyoming Saturday. If I had all the coyotes in the world to hunt right here, I wouldn't be going to Wyoming Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah.
We don't. We have a population of coyotes, foxes, bobcats, and all that kind of stuff, but they're not what's absolutely killing our turkey population. It's a number of things. They're not helping. Yeah. They're not helping our turkey population by no means, but they're not like what's destroying it. But But what I'm telling you is, if you're concerned about your turkey flock in your area, yes, you need to practice predator control. If you don't want a predator hunt, if you don't want a coyote hunt or bobcat hunt, call me. I'll love it, and I'll take care of them for
I
free.
love it. I love
Let
it.
me ask you. I know, like, I mean, you're the predator hunting king. So, have you ever done any like any of your own studies on a farm or anything, like to see if like deer populations or turkey populations seen an increase after you've wiped out a bunch of predators or anything like that?
I've tried to keep up with that some. Probably the best place to kind of gauge at is my home property where my dad lives. I've hunted that for all my life.
Right.
I can't tell you that there's really a different number of deer there since I was in high school. I mean,
Yeah.
but I've hunted coyotes since high school too, so I think I've got everything on this,
Plateau.
Stabilized.
not dropping, it's not increasing.
Yeah.
I got it right there. And like I said, I did see a change in turkeys for this spring season, and I swear I blame it on it taking out that growed up
Taking
fence.
that fence
I
row.
think that's a good example, though. I mean, you deer hunt, you coyote hunt, you turkey hunt, you do a little bit of everything. So, I mean, for anyone, I mean, we're talking if you're hunting a specific area on public land too. I think it's kind of a good point if you're weighing in all those factors and you're doing everything, like you said, you've been doing it since high school, like you were younger. So, if you're taking care of your area, it's all going to stabilize out. So.
I like to think that I've really helped things out in my area, and maybe I could, I like to use the impact here, and the reason the turkey hunting is so good here, just like we're here in the third season. We've had this past week, last 2 days, we've had two guys in here. We're filming for Fox Pro Hunting TV. Just to give you an example, we've had a former coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Mike Zimmer's been down. Last 2 mornings, third week of season, we've caught in 8 longbeards the last 2 mornings.
Wow.
Season in Kentucky. If you think the population sounds like it's down right here, and we've already put no telling how many on film here. My cousin Bo, for strutting in the bluegrass, they killed 8 longbeards in 7 days.
Wow.
The same week, I think we filmed 6 more, all in the same area, and we're still filming them.
Yeah, that's like Mike. I mean, Mike, you guys have the last 3 years have just had an abundance of turkeys. I mean, your whole family's killing them.
Yeah, it's been incredible, an incredible run just on our little farm in Grant County. We have about 70 acres on one farm, and a mile up the road, my cousin has about 60 acres. And this year, I got my 2 on my uncle's place. He got a gobbler. Another uncle killed a jake on the property. And then my cousin up the road, he killed 2 gobblers. He tagged down on 2 gobblers up on his place. And then my other cousin, he's the one that got the bird in Eastern Kentucky when we were hunting down there. But it's been terrific. We've heard excellent amount of gobbling. Really the last 3 seasons. And John, you brought your daughter to Youth Weekend last year, and
we had a
lot
lot
of gobbling there. And so we've been seeing numbers of turkeys and harvesting turkeys as well. But I kind of wanted to ask you about this, John. We're heading in kind of the last week of turkey season. What can, through those hunts, and I've been watching as well, you have been having an awesome season, and just the folks with you all, what's the style of hunting that's been most successful? Have you been running and gunning? Have you been sitting? With some of the struggle, and like you said, you've been hearing gobble, so running and gunning's probably been a part of your hunting, because when they're gobbling, you can kind of do that and
get after them.
And get after them. What style's been working best for you?
It's probably been scouting plays a huge role in the turkeys we kill here on film. It really does. I've got the opportunity to spend a lot of time in the field, so we spend a lot of time leading up to season scouting. It's just like I spent 5 days before my last 2 guests come in just scouting. Didn't take nobody hunting. I scouted every morning up to lunchtime every day. And the first 5 birds, we caught in 5 birds in one swath yesterday morning, and that was from scouting. I watched these birds for 5 days. But we've killed about probably 50% of them right after fly down, and the other half has probably been mid-morning running and gunning.
Okay.
Now, last year, I think every single bird we killed, we had roosted the night before, and we killed them shortly after fly down. Had them scouted out, knew where they like to go, knew where they like to roost, knew where they like to fly down, what they did after they flew down, set up appropriately with the right decoy spread, and talk sweet enough to get them in there. A lot of stuff comes into play to have a successful season, being consistent. It really does.
It does.
If you're not roosting them, you said you went out and you scouted to about lunch every day. What are some, I saw one video of you just kind of had your binoculars looking at other fields. What if you're in more of a timbered area? How are you going to approach that?
Usually, I've got some timbered areas we hunt, and a lot of times some of our birds, that's where they're roosting, is in timbered areas, and I'm trying to hunt them in the open fields, and I do that a lot because it's a lot better for filming. Okay,
right?
But one of the main things we do, I've woke up at 4:30 in the morning every single morning since mid-March just to listen for turkeys. Listening to turkeys is huge. It's just as good as seeing them. If you can hear birds in the area, you know you got birds in the area. You know how many birds you got in your area. Once they fly down, they're going to talk a little bit, and you can keep tabs on them where they're going just by listening to them. So just getting out where you can hear them in earshot and listen for them birds, you can learn so much. I mean, I've got spots that I don't stay in glass. Only thing I do is go listen for them, make sure they're still there. And maybe come back and try to get them to shot gobble at a crow call or something like that. Just keep tabs. I don't have to lay eyes on them. Just I want to hear them, either hear them or see them, or both.
It's funny you say that. So my buddy Eric No from Harlan used to hunt with him every turkey season. We'd go to the same exact spot and we would just listen. We get there way before daylight. And when they would start hitting, he just knew the property. I mean, it was public land. He knew it so well when he would hear them. Like they would hit and he'd say, all right, man, I already know where they're going, where they're at. Let's go. And we'd almost every time, it was either a close encounter or we'd leave with the bird before he even laid eyes on anything.
Sounds like a good turkey hunter.
He is. He's a very good turkey hunter. He is. He tags out. He's already tagged out. So,
So what about, you say you killed most of yours right after fly down or mid-morning. I saw some guy said that he had no luck of the morning, went back and killed a bird at 6:20 in the afternoon. I thought about going Friday after work. What, if they fire back up, in your experience, what are some tactics for that late afternoon? I mean, are you changing anything up?
Well, one thing for us, usually I'm throwing all my chips in, getting on that early setup. Like I said, we'll kill. I think the previous 2 years we killed almost every one of them after fly down. Because
that's definitely the best practice.
We're putting so much effort into that. A lot of times afternoons, like now, like this morning we hunted. We didn't do much good this morning. The wind was howling 25 miles an hour here. We hunted the highest point in Lincoln County. It was rough. We did hear birds, and we were on birds. We just couldn't do nothing with them. We spent the rest of the afternoon scouting, and we got a good idea where we're going. We probably could have killed a bird this afternoon. I really think we had a good chance, but we spent the afternoon scouting, got some eyeballs on some birds. Wind's supposed to be a lot better in the morning. We got a bird roosted.
There you go.
We're throwing chips in on that. Now for the afternoon stuff, I think if you're able to get out in glass and find a bird, I like finding a bird by just spotting him in the afternoon and then getting situated, crowding that sucker as much as you can without bumping him.
That's hard.
Let out. It's hard. Especially, everybody's got different terrain. So, it all matters. Depends on that. But I like to throw out some soft yelps to see if I can't get him to answer. Then if I can get him to answer one more time, usually that bird is
dust.
Pour it into him after that. Start cutting at him and everything. But, I like to start out soft with them in the afternoon. But if you can get them fired up, usually if you get an afternoon bird fired up, it's by itself. As long as you don't screw it up, you're going to get it.
Yeah, I'll say the past 2 nights, I've been working till like 6:30, 7 o'clock every night. And
that's Central Time.
So the past 2 evenings I've came home. Western Kentucky, you all know there's farms everywhere. And right off the interstate, I seen a bird this afternoon, full strut, and a hen just pecking around. Yesterday, the property over from it, same thing. Out in the field, hen pecking around, bird full strut. So I mean, a lot of people's probably going to be against this, but I mean, if you're hunting public land and you're not seeing anything, maybe jump in your vehicle, drive around for a little bit, see something in the field, and go jump in the woods.
Don't shoot out of your vehicle.
Don't shoot. Right.
Just scout out of your vehicle.
Right. So I mean, that does. I mean, if you see the THP guys, a ton of times they'll be driving around, see a deer, they jump out and go stalking. I'm not saying that's the case that you should be doing all the time, but what I've been seeing is if it was public land, you bet your butt I would have been getting out of that truck.
When it comes back to afternoon, it's like you're talking working so much. If you got limited time and you got time to go on afternoon after them birds, pour it on them.
Yeah.
Because it could make a difference in you having a tagging out this year or not. I've had great hunts in the afternoon. They can be very fun hunts. But if you're blessed where you have several days you can hunt, one thing I've noticed with my scouting, if we hunt them in the afternoon, it kind of screws up the next morning if we hunt the same property.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing, matter if you're successful or not, if you're in there calling to them, pressuring them a little bit, you're actually going to change their routine up a little bit. They might actually roost in a different spot than they normally do. Then when they fly down, they're doing something different. So that's just some factors to go in. I don't go after an afternoon bird unless I think it's a slam dunk myself. But if you're somebody that hunts a lot, works a lot, that's on the chances you got, man, get after them.
Yep.
Yeah. Right here, what Josh Sweet says, best time to be in the woods is any chance you get. Josh, thanks for tuning in, man. I appreciate you. I've seen some guys that if they have to be, I got to be at work at 7:15, so I can't hunt in the morning. But some guys that have to be at work at 9, you can get them right after fly down. You got time.
Yeah.
And I've seen guys do that in the last couple of weeks. So, well, fellas, I think that that'll wrap it up. That was a great show, John. We appreciate you being on here, and I think everyone that knows who you are, they enjoy your work, your videos, whether it was Tooth and Claw or now Fox Pro, and we appreciate all your contributions to the outdoors.
Well, I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate everybody that watches and tunes in the stuff. John, Josh, Mike. Fan of all your guys. I keep up with, Eastern Outdoors Media. I like the page. I watch a lot of the Facebook lives and stuff. And I do want to close with something. Everybody that is concerned with our turkey population. There is a few easy things you can do. It's simple. Kentucky Fish and Wildlife ask everybody every single year to fill out a turkey survey.
Yep.
If you're concerned, fill out that survey. That's actually some info that can be very helpful. You see some negative comments all the time about guys like, oh, I ain't doing their job for them, blah, blah, blah. Don't have that attitude. Do not have that attitude. Help out. Do your part. That simple little survey can go a long way.
Absolutely.
Another thing is a project that's going on that a lot of people don't know about, but our private lands biologists, Zach Danks, and all the guys, a bunch of the guys involved in Fish and Wildlife are banding birds. They banded birds, earlier this year. They're probably going to be doing it again next year. They do run into barriers, obstacles, finding land to get on to band these birds. If you have access to land that you can get some of these guys on, get them on there where it's going to be a big flock of birds. Let them get in there and try to get them trapped, get them banded. I don't know for sure all the ins and outs of the research, but I guarantee you it's going to benefit Kentucky turkey hunters.
Yep.
And a couple more things. I don't know when, but we're going to have Aaron Warbritton from the Hunting Public on. They're raising money to go to the state of Kentucky for more turkey research. We'll talk about that. Also, the elk tags, if you hadn't applied for an elk tag, the deadline is tonight. They extended it. And so if you've not done that, you still got a couple hours. And there's one more thing I was going to say, and I don't remember now. Someone said what's going to be on the show next week. I think, Eddie, I think Hurley Combs is going to come on, talk about the 400-inch bull elk they killed last year. We had planned to do that right after the not the elk draw, but the deadline, right? So, anyway. So when do they have the draw? The draw is May 14th,
I think.
Yeah. And we'll be doing a show, or I'll be over there doing a show May 13th the night before with Trinity and TLC Outfitters. So, all right. Well, fellas, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We'll be here next Tuesday, I think, talking about the elk draw. If not, it'll be something fun anyway. So
Thank you, guys.
Always.
yeah,
John.
good luck
Appreciate
to
you,
everyone
John.
hunting this weekend. Someone said Happy Mother's Day. I don't know if we have anyone on here, but Happy Mother's Day. Tell your mom, tell your wife. So, John, Josh, Mike, appreciate you guys. Have a good night. We'll see
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you, John.
Yep. Thank you, guys.